Welcome to 2024, everyone! Before we begin, special thanks are due to the excellent John Cleveland, who was beyond generous in last April's charity stream. As per usual, I am very late in giving my proper appreciation. Per his request, I'm checking out the Blood-Spilling Kings of Kokomo. No, wait, that's not right. Blood-Boiling Babes of Boston. Blood-Soaked Sultans of Syracuse? No. I remember. Grab yourself some tomato salmon casserole and enjoy 1991's Bloodsucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh. At makeout point.
Oh! You got a caught in the zipper!
Right here.
Oh!
Yeah.
Can we rest a second here?
Oh! Mother! Oh!
I have got no more tears left to cry for you.
This shadowy figure and their wagon are on the lookout for something. Suddenly, with the flip of a switch and the turn of a button, this guy goes from getting head to losing his head giver in about 10 seconds flat. Man, what a buzzkill. The cops rush in, just to take a time out for concessions, before rushing to the murder scene. I mean, who wants to investigate on an empty stomach? Scientific deductions are made.
Oh, it looks like he used a scoop. You know, like for ice cream or something.
And cookies are tossed as a surprising thing is found. Sweeney, who is very proficient with chopsticks, fishes out a clue, before asking for the music from the Bluesmobile to be cut. Damn it, I was really enjoying that. The clue, covered in hieroglyphics, leaves them puzzled. Sweeney and Joe discuss the crime spree, which bears a striking resemblance to a series of murders in Las Vegas, of which Joe investigated. The decision is made to call in Joe's former partner to assist, and in one very film noirish moment, Joe confesses to Sweeney that he knew all the murder victims. Burdened by this news, Sweeney returns home to his wife and her many ashtrays.
Where you been all night?
Pinto beans and papaya are served up by the love of his life, who simultaneously works out, smokes like a chimney, and speaks to him through an electrolarynx. Joe returns to his apartment just to be greeted with
A cup of coffee and a cuddle, huh, Joe?
which apparently puts him off his game. His morning paper headlines reflect his internal struggles, and only his gun can answer the problem. After all, vodka via water pistol is always the answer. Outside, Mavis picks up a John in a purple bug. Things get turned on, but things go a bit beyond kinky with a portable generator attached to a hedge trimmer. It is at this point they paint the car red. At headquarters, Joe and Sweeney meet with the angriest chief since Samurai Cop.
Just what the Sam fucking hill is going on here?
He uses a gun to make his point, but his aim sucks, so no harm, no foul. The killer stealthily stalks the next victim, which is saying something when you're pulling a portable Jenny on the back of a wagon. Betty loses her shirt, and then her entire digestive tract via industrial shot vac. While perfecting his gun-based mixology, Joe is interrupted by his former partner's daughter, who came in his place. Joe and Dee Dee are called to the crime scene where the murder is described.
It's all like one long string, you know. Yank on one end and it all comes out.
In the autopsy, another hieroglyph-covered note is found in what's left of Betty's innards.
Surprise!
And to celebrate Flo's birthday, they have tomato salmon casserole. Ooh, so chunky. Elsewhere, Sweeney's wife hits smokers rehab, where time-tested techniques to help with permanent change are employed. And yes, before you ask, the hose does need to be used by guys in ape suits. The cops follow leads to Little Egypt, where they run across
Cafe Nefertiti. Nefertiti.
as well as roller skating waitress Grace. The mysterious Jackie Cairo and his even more mysterious ninjas watch from afar. On a tip from Grace, Dee Dee goes undercover at a local motel, where asking for something for later gets you something for later.
If I may suggest a special device with the
No.
She declines, but it's clear that most of the other motel occupants are all about it. Dee Dee settles in for a night of waterbed and chill when she's kidnapped by the mysterious Jackie Cairo and his ninjas. Joe and Sweeney rush to the horny hotel and get prepared.
I get the flashlights.
Don't panic, they didn't say fleshlights. Oh, that was just me that heard that. Through a weird series of events, it turns out Jackie Cairo is just in it for the boobs. The real mastermind behind the power tool fetish and the little red wagon was Grace? So was it the lacy underpants, or was she always evil? Either way, she has an elaborate stew of human pieces.
The body is shriveled and the soul is locked in him until the end of time.
Wow, people really pissed her off. Joe arrives and threatens to
Blow your ass off!
if Dee Dee isn't released. He ends up in the soup, Sweeney's wife spooks everyone, Grace's henchman loses his head, and she threatens Dee Dee with a chainsaw. And I can only assume that this sequence ticks all the boxes of someone's kinky fantasy. I leave you here to discern the rest of the movie, including a line that will absolutely leave you laughing. Bloodsucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh is a 1991 horror comedy directed by Dean Cheddar. It stars Jake Dengel, Joe Sharkey, Susan Fletcher, and adult film star Jane Esther Hamilton. Effects maestro and Pittsburgh native Tom Savini handled the makeup and prosthetic work. This film was inspired by Herschel Gordon Lewis's 1963 Blood Feast, which revolves around a caterer who kills women for their body parts, using them to perform a sacrificial ritual to Egyptian goddess Ishtar. Blood Feast, like its spiritual successor, features a lot of on-screen gore, and is considered to be the first splatter film made, coming 3 years after Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Cheddar hoped to push the boundaries in a similar way, letting the bloody over-the-top kills leave the audience uncomfortable, although at least by modern standards, the tomato salmon casserole might have been more off-putting. Bloodsucking Pharaohs was originally filmed in 1988, but didn't get released until mid-1991 when it came out as a direct-to-video VHS. Cheddar removed his name from the credits, choosing instead to go by the classic Hollywood pseudonym Alan Smithy. All this was due to large chunks of the movie being significantly altered by Beverly Penberthy, producer and the actress who played Erna Birdwell. According to a Fangoria article on the 2002 DVD release, Cheddar tells the story at length in the DVD supplements. Since that time, he seems to have found some kind of peace. Although he hasn't gone back to directing, he does keep busy doing art and graphic design for movies such as Mary Poppins Returns, Underworld, and Water for Elephants. Tom Savini's effects are as well done as you'd expect, with this particular one being a standout to me. Unfortunately, the gore had to be toned down to receive an R rating, so what's seen on camera is just part of the work he originally put in. The Japanese VHS release does have 4 extended scenes of the murders, but I've only been able to find screenshots online. The link is in the description below. On my first watch, I was torn. When Bloodsucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh was suggested to me, my first thought was vampire mummies or killer Egyptian leeches or something. But in typical low-budget movie fashion, this isn't necessarily accurate to what you're actually going to see on screen, at least until the last 20 minutes. The alternative title, Picking Up the Pieces, was definitely more accurate to the overall story, but it certainly doesn't elicit the same desire to pull the VHS off the shelf and shove it into the closest player out of sheer curiosity. This is more of a nitpick than anything, but I thought it was worth noting. There are moments of hilarious dialogue and some decent gags worthy of Naked Gun. The plot goes with a pretty decent misdirect on who the killer is, as long as you don't look closely at the modern cover art. I love that the killer hauls around a portable generator in a little red wagon, and the victims wait as everything is plugged in before they're sawed off, sucked up, or hacked to death. As a viewer, it is worth it, especially for the shop vac seamlessly sucking out an entire digestive tract. The general confusion surrounding the body is also quite satisfying. On the other side, there is something missing. In the midst of good kills and the catchy dialogue, there's a variety of subplots that mess with the flow of the overall story. Whether you're talking about the misdirection of Joe's connection to the murders through his previous affiliations, or Sweeney's wife's jealousy, as well as the revelations that come out of nowhere in the last 20 minutes. Given everything else that's going on, I really didn't feel like these plot points were needed. Credit where credit is due though, these plots are at least partially resolved. The disjointed nature of this film could in large part be due to the editing, and it certainly doesn't diminish the good stuff. But I will say that it is the biggest thing that stops this film from being great. If this does interest you, I would suggest giving it more than one watch. There's a lot of great gags that can be missed on a first viewing. The autopsy scene and the over-the-top power tool kills are worth that alone. So what do you think? Suggestions for movies? Trivial questions? Comments, ratings, and a couple of battery packs for the killer's array of murder weapons would be appreciated. Thank you so very much for watching.